Over to you. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff with Virginia Paranormal Investigations. And tonight we're coming to you live from the 1870 Octagon Mansion here in Wytheville, Virginia. We're going to be broadcasting 2 hours of our all-night investigation. Now I'm going to turn you over to our lead researcher, Will, and he's going to tell you a little bit about the history of this extravagant mansion.
So guys, welcome to the Octagon Mansion. This mansion was built in 1870, finished completion in 1874. Cars go by. So upon completion, a pastor who actually worked at this church right over here, which this church was built around the same time, he lived in this home. Now as time progressed, he eventually sold the house, and then it was transferred by one person after the other. In 1890, there was another addition added onto the house, and then again in 1950. Now in 1950 in Wytheville, there was a polio epidemic, and during that time, this is where children stayed to quarantine themselves. And so after that, the next addition was in 1990. That's going to be in the back portion of the house, which is where they had a bakery and a restaurant. Now, that portion of the house was actually built over top of land where there were 8 graves. Now, those bodies were not moved. They instead built it on top of them. So right now, in the back portion of the house, there are at least 8 spirits that could possibly reside there. After that, it eventually became a home for a few lawyers and a few other law firms. And then finally, it was vacant for a while. And now the new owner is trying to restore it into a museum.
All right, before we pan over to Linda, we got a few comments from the UK. We got one comment from the UK, so hi from the UK. And we want to thank you for joining us. We know you're staying up late to watch this.
Yeah.
All right, Linda, tell us a little about some of the ghosts that we may encounter.
Yeah. So we know that's what you're here for. You're here for the ghosts. As far as the house is concerned, there's not a whole lot of crazy activity that occurs here. We really appreciated that the people that own the home and that were introducing it to us didn't seem to hype things up too much. They believe that the spirit of a little girl, they called her Murphy, and they believe that she is one of the ones lingering here from the polio epidemic. And she seems to interact with some of the balls and some of the things that they leave upstairs on the floor for her. Now, there could be some other activity here as well. Some people have said that they have been touched, they've heard voices, that sort of thing. There are a couple of places in the home where there is a particular amount of activity, and one of those is in the newer addition of the home for some reason, the one that I guess was built over top of those graves. So, that makes sense. When you walk through the doorway into that portion of the home, the energy changes. You can feel it change. So we'll definitely do a little setup there tonight and see if we can get any activity there.
Absolutely. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take you into the newer portion of the house. We're going to check out the base station, the setup, and we're going to get to the baseline suite. Now during this baseline suite, we'll be walking through this place and showing you what it looks like. You'll get a glimpse inside. And I got to say, I was impressed. Being a connoisseur of history, let me turn around so I don't fall down the hill. Being a connoisseur of history, I walk into this place and bam, there it is, Revolutionary War, Civil War, uniforms from the Revolutionary and Civil War. I mean, it's amazing the things that you're going to see in this place. And to think that any number of these objects that go back to these wars, something could be attached to them as well, as there are often reports of spirits being attached to objects. Now this portion that we're entering, this is what Will was mentioning earlier, the 1990s edition, and this is the part that is actually over 8 graves. Now we're going into what they call the Investigator's Lounge. And watch the wires, Will, when you walk in here. They're all over the place. Since it's just us, we didn't really tape them down. This is where we have our base station set up, okay? We have over here, we have a surveillance system. We have 4 cameras on there. One's monitoring the basement, one's monitoring the dining room, one's monitoring the room upstairs where they've had some activity, and this one is monitoring right next to us in case one of these poltergeist type activities start to kick up. Now also we have some portable cameras that we're going to be setting up throughout the location because wires can't reach every place, and we like to use wired systems or a standalone camera. I want to go over a little bit of the equipment that we're going to be using for this baseline sweep right here. Okay, this is the tri-field meter. It's basically an EMF detector. However, it's the kind that electricians may actually use. We're going to go through, we're going to go to our baseline readings with this. I'm going to pass that to Will, and I'm going to pass the K2 meter to Linda. And the K2 meter, the reason we're going to do a sweep with that as well, because we'll use it during the investigation. We want to know where the spikes are, and if we get a spike where we didn't, there's something there, be it supernatural or natural, that wasn't there before. Another thing,
It's just staying in the red.
well, let's see if it changes upstairs. You put it near the equipment, it goes off, right?
Right.
That's weird. It could be the fluorescent, but
Fluorescent lights,
if we compare
perhaps.
it to the tri-field meter,
Right.
and I like to compare the two because, like I said, this is the professional one. This is the one that's created for ghost hunting, and I like to use equipment that's not necessarily created for ghost hunting to kind of verify the readings.
Yeah.
Because you know you're not going to get anything false. You know it's created for a professional.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Means. Linda's also going to carry a thermometer. She's going to measure the thermometer levels as we go through the temperature levels to see if there's any fluctuations. So let's go ahead and let's start those baseline sweeps. I love the paranormal side. I also like the SLS. Hey, thanks, Chris, for commenting. We're going to try to respond to a couple of these comments as we go through if we can as well.
I also saw that the furthest person away, I think, was from England so far. But we had a few people from Nova Scotia and a few other places around the world.
Oh, Nova Scotia.
That's awesome. We got people from all over joining us. Someone said Jeff looks like King, what was it, Leonidas?
King Leonidas? Yeah,
But
definitely.
who is that?
Wasn't he the Spartan guy?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's okay. I was trying to put a face with it.
What's funny is I think that's the second time we've heard that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the same person, but it's the second time we've heard that.
It could be.
They
It could
look
be.
like that.
So
All right.
Let's talk about this room. So this first room that we're coming into, they kind of separated the museum into Civil War and Revolutionary War. So this first room is kind of right up our alley, coming from Yorktown and the whole peninsula. Right here, this uniform was worn by a drummer boy during the Revolutionary War. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's really something to be this close to history.
Right. There's so many awesome pieces. I wish that we could be able to show you all of them, but we'll kind of do a quick highlight as we walk around the place.
Right. And we'll also, when we start with EVP sessions, we'll be turning off the fans as well. They're just on now to keep some airflow in here.
This thing has just been pinged out, like until I walked over here. It was just up in the red the entire time, so.
If it stays in the red consistently, I mean, it's obviously something electrical or some that's setting that off, so we won't be able to really use it. But the tri-field meter seems to be pretty consistent, Will?
Yes. Now, Jeff, have we talked about why it is that we're doing these baseline sweeps?
We have not. So if you want to go over the baseline sweeps for those people that haven't seen us before.
Absolutely. So what we're looking for is we're trying to eliminate any variables. We want to find out what the constants are. So we're going to kind of go around the house and see at any point does the tri-field meter spike up. What that tells us is that there are electromagnetic fields in the air, which we've theorized that ghosts are able to feed off of that energy. So in theory, if this spikes up, that means that there is a ghost present. But in order for us to know that, we first have to find out, okay, in this room, this doesn't go above a 1. So if it does, that lets us know that there's possibly a spirit.
Will, we got a comment says Will is looking hot tonight. Yes, it is
Yes.
93 degrees here in Wytheville.
I don't think that's what they meant.
Now, keep in mind, as we're doing these baseline sweeps, a lot of people say, well, you can't gather evidence while you're talking. We're not gathering audio evidence right now. We're strictly getting readings. So it's okay to talk as we're going through with this. We'll try to respond to a couple comments if we can. But mainly what we're looking at is what the devices pick up as we're going through that are of a natural explanation.
This is another awesome piece. This is another Revolutionary War coat that they have. I believe he said they have 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Isn't it?
This museum is going to be opened, I believe they said, in Labor Day.
Right.
And if you ever get a chance to come here and check this place out, I mean, if you're the least bit intrigued by history, this is the place to come. This is quite an amazing place.
Something else I definitely want to show you guys. Up here, At the very top, if you can kind of see that little gold-plated mask, that is actually the death mask of George Washington.
Yeah,
At
that's
least
amazing.
a replica of it. It's not the real one. That'd be cool.
And there is another one over here. Who did he say that this one belonged to?
Abraham Lincoln.
Was it Lincoln?
So these death masks, they used to make them at the time of death. So this is,
This white one here.
it's eerie,
It is.
but at the same time, where will you ever see firsthand how Abraham Lincoln looked at death?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a uniform, a dress uniform, from the general staff of Abraham Lincoln when he was in office. Someone that was in the White House, that worked on Abraham Lincoln's general staff, wore that uniform. Quite impressive.
The next room that you want to walk into, if you want to check out the dining room.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is also where they hold their dinner with the ghost events. So if you ever get a chance to come out here for that, you definitely should.
I'm going to need to pull out a light
I
here.
do want to show you guys, we actually do have a light in here.
Oh, we do.
So, watch very closely as I walk right about here.
All right, motion light.
See how that light automatically cut on?
Mm-hmm.
So in here we have a motion activated light. Right behind Jeff is going to be a live feed camera that's going to show us at the base station if this light goes off. Now in this room there's quite a few things that could give off some sort of paranormal activity. This flag over here on this table was actually used in battle. One of the very few that actually still exist.
1863.
That's what he said.
The other one here on the wall was also from that era. He said he doesn't think that it was actually used in battle, but it definitely is from that time period. We also have in the center of the table something that I found kind of intriguing. You see these three large chunks that look like glass. This was originally a 500-pound crystal that the owner of the house had found somewhere, and he had set it into, I believe, he set his backyard after purchasing it, and went to move it on its pedestal, and the thing just fell into
8 pieces.
8 pieces. So he's got the large chunk sitting around here, thinking that perhaps it might kind of provoke a little bit of paranormal activity.
Yeah, like we've said before, there's a lot of different stones that produce electrical energy. One of them that we might think is quartz, definitely. We
Right.
talked about that with the Indian burial mounds.
Mm-hmm.
Another one right here is crystal. I'm not too certain about crystal,
Yeah.
but that would be pretty interesting to kind of look up and find out.
Absolutely. I saw a comment pop up from Nancy, longtime follower. Hey, shout out to Nancy. Thanks for all your support. We don't get to express in all the comments always. We don't get to respond and tell people how much we really appreciate all of the support. So thank you for that.
So in here is the little entryway. This is where when you do come into the museum, you'll be greeted. It has a lot of other Civil War memorabilia. A lot of it is Gettysburg. You'll kind of look around, you'll see different battle plans of Gettysburg and a few other things and pieces that were there during the battle.
Yeah, this is amazing. It shows where the Confederate and Union lines were, and
Now, the next thing that I want to point out, right now we are in the octagon portion of the house, the original structure. Now, let's step into the future a little bit.
the beard is a good food catcher. Yes, it is.
Right. You see how thick this wall is? They literally had to cut through the brick that they had already built around the house to make this another extension. This part right here, where we're standing in this room, was built in 1890. So this is where the preacher would have worked in a study, or you kind of imagine how he would have wandered around the house. But this part was built in 1890. Now let's step a little bit further into the future and go into 1950. Oh, you know what? Actually, one more thing that's really, really cool in this room. I do want to show you guys.
Let me guess, you're going for the train.
Going for the trains.
The Jim Beam train.
Do you want to talk about that one, Jeff?
All I know is I saw this train under here, and I do like trains, and I thought this was, it looks a little bigger than an O-scale train. And he said that's actually Jim Beam train cars.
From 1902.
1902 with Jim Beam still in there.
Yes. So, next let's go into 1950.
I know plenty of women who would kill for Linda's hair.
So let's talk about this part right here. So when they built that 1950 extension, which is where we're standing, right here is what would have led down into the basement. We'll show that to you guys later. But right here would have been the stairs, but they went ahead and closed that off. And downstairs in the basement during the 1890s, the late 1800s, they had their kitchen in the basement. So as time progressed, people didn't want to cook on the dirt anymore. So they decided to move it up and they added in this portion of the house.
Oh, look at that old laundry wringer there.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, you don't see those things anymore.
No, you don't. And I like the ice
It says
box.
1900.
Yeah, I like what they would have called, I guess, the ice box. That's pretty cool. I don't know, the activity on the K2 meter sort of died once we left all of that memorabilia.
Right, I'm getting the same ratings.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten past the 1.0 since we left the Revolutionary War part.
Okay,
Now this portion of the house too, the power's completely out.
it is. That is a good thing to note. They did shut off the breakers to the old portion of the house. They're a little bit afraid that the police will bother you if you have all the lights on, but it also just sort of kind of keeps everything quiet and keeps everything nice and dark.
Someone said, what state are you in? We are in Virginia, Wytheville, Virginia, at the 1870 Octagon Mansion, for those who are just joining us. And we'll be here all night. So after we do the live portion, we'll be videotaping the rest of the investigation with an introduction and everything, and that'll be posted as another video to see what we catch for the rest of the night.
Yeah, another thing that's pretty cool too about the town of Wytheville is that Wytheville had a huge alien UFO sort of scare many years ago, and you can look it up. For some reason, just all of a sudden during this time period, they started seeing lots of UFOs flying over Wytheville. And kind of cool story. They did a video, I believe, back in the 1980s about it as well. That's pretty cool. And so if you want to look that up, if you're at least a little bit interested in aliens and UFOs like we are, then it's definitely worth watching.
Hey guys from Roanoke, right down the road.
Nice.
Oh, wow. So now we're going to go ahead and go upstairs.
Someone said, how's David doing? David, he's doing good. He's doing good. We're hoping to see him out again soon. But for now, hopefully he's watching live from YouTube. Probably not, but he might be.
This is the unrenovated, hot portion of the home. It's extremely warm up here. You can see I'm like shimmering. But you can see the paint peeling off of the walls. They do intend to restore it. It's just that this is the portion of the house that they haven't quite gotten to yet. And the proceeds for the investigation tonight, the money that we paid to come investigate, all goes to the renovation of the home. So we feel like we're actually being able to lend a little bit to history and doing the investigation and also having a good time as well.
That's right.
Now, Linda, did you want to go ahead and point out some of these items that are in this room?
Yeah, this was kind of where the children's bedroom was, and there's another playroom that's attached to the back here. They lay things around like a balloon and a ball, and you see the chalk, the sticks of sidewalk chalk that are lining the threshold there between the bedroom and the playroom. And occasionally they come up here and they find things that are sort of moved around, and they believe that it's the little girl from the 1950s polio epidemic that may still be lingering that messes with some of this stuff. So we'll carefully step over them.
Do you ever go to a place where you want to walk out as soon as you walk in? Question. We'll take that question real quick, Linda.
Oh, yeah. There's been a couple of places like that. It's not necessarily an entire building or an entire house that feels like that. Normally it's one section of a house. And just last night, an investigation that we went to, I know that Will and I both had that feeling. The house is fine, but you walk into this one little short hallway that contains a bedroom and a bathroom and the stairs that lead down to the basement, And the second you walk through that hallway or into that hallway, you get this kind of feeling of, I guess somebody described it as dread. It was just this feeling like you really did not want to be there. And just kind of a really heavy feeling to it. So that was one place just recently I wanted to walk out.
Sometimes I like to walk ahead a little bit and walk in by myself to kind of get rid of that feeling of feeling like there's a team with you, like kind of walking in by yourself.
Yes.
How would you feel in this house alone? So I walked ahead.
Yeah.
And as you're walking, you make that turn and you assume it's just going to be one more room. But when you made that turn, it was a whole other section of the house and it was completely pitch black. As soon as I made that turn, I walked into that room and saw it in the hallway, saw into that other bedroom, and immediately felt like you walked into a wall. And it was like you didn't want to walk anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like this. And I went back, grabbed Linda, I was like, you gotta come with me.
Yeah.
I'm not going back in.
Speaking of things that Will doesn't like, someone just commented and said, are you going to throw Will in the closet tonight?
No, we're
Not
throwing
the
him in the
closet.
basement.
The basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creepy dirt floor basement.
Yeah, we got something better than closets.
Yeah, so we'll have him do that maybe for a portion of the live feed here. Have him sit down there by himself. I'll take the camera here and the light.
And maybe what I can do is while I'm in the basement, you guys start thinking of some questions that I should ask. As I'm kind of filming down there by myself, kind of start sending in those questions. Get them ready. And
Yeah.
I'll ask them for you.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, let's get out of this really hot stuff.
Well, actually, we have one more room in
Yeah.
that second floor.
Yeah, it's just that one playroom is particularly hot.
You see all these dolls that they leave out?
Oh yeah, nothing like a creepy doll to really set the mood.
There's one in particular that they said, and I believe that they said it's downstairs. And this is like a 20-pound doll. It's a very heavy porcelain doll. And they believe that this is a particular favorite of the little girl spirit that's here, because they say that it actually moves around the house. So we're going to keep an eye on that one tonight and see if we can watch that thing or see if it moves.
Question, would you rather see a UFO or a Sasquatch?
Sasquatch. I don't want to see aliens. I don't want anything to do with aliens. They will come and snatch your ass up and take you whether you like it or not. And they're going to stick needles in you and probe you and do things that are uncomfortable. Sasquatch, I think Sasquatch, if he's going to come and snatch you up, then he's probably going to take you back and make you like cook dinner and stuff for him and his family. I'm thinking like enslave you in a sense.
Jeez.
I'm not too bad with enslavement, but needles and poking and prodding and that sort of thing, I'm not into.
No, I'm actually on the opposite side of it. I'd
Really?
much rather see an alien. Come on. Bigfoot's real. We know that. There's something out there in those woods, but aliens, come on now. You gotta see an alien. No one has ever really been able to see an alien and capture that. People capture Sasquatches all the time. Yeah,
That's
those are
true.
real.
That's true.
Loch Ness Monster, unicorns are all real. But aliens, I want to be able to capture an alien. That would be really cool.
That would be something. And if you're talking an actual alien, I think I'd have to side with Will on that. Now, if it's just a UFO, as opposed to Bigfoot, I think I'd take the Bigfoot. Because I've already seen what I believe was a UFO on at least 3 different occasions.
Right.
I want to know that we're not alone in the universe.
Right.
I know that I'm not alone in the woods.
Yep. And watch your head.
You want to check out that doll that they were saying?
Yes, I do. 'Cause
I haven't seen it yet.
No, I haven't either. Where is that doll?
She's
Over here? Oh, yeah,
Let's see.
that's right.
It's the one that looks like Shirley Temple.
There's one that looks
Yeah.
like Shirley Temple right there, kind of.
Yep,
That's probably it.
That might be the doll.
Yeah.
That's the doll that moves.
another creepy collection of dolls.
Now, do you want to point out this doll is apparently really heavy? Yeah, that is a heavy doll. They say that doll has moved all over the house. So, like a spirit being able to pick that up, that takes a
Yeah.
lot of strength.
And particularly the spirit of a little girl,
Yeah.
so.
Right. Absolutely.
All right, so let's head down, maybe back to our basement, back to the team, hangout or the team lounge, and,
The team lounge.
yep.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the first thing that we're going to do here tonight. Feel free to shout out any comments that come through.
Question. Have y'all ever seen shadow people? That's from Chris Masters.
Watch the wire there. we've had a lot of cases dealing with shadow people. I've seen a silhouetted figure before that there was really no natural explanation for it. But as far as actually seeing shadow people, I can't say that I have. I mean, at least not that I recall. I know there's been a lot of cases that we've had for them.
There was one time in particular that I saw a figure, a dark, very dark figure, that was darting across the front yard of a home that was across the street from the one that we were investigating. And that's probably the closest thing that I've seen to a shadow figure. It was very tall, very slender. You could tell that it was a human form in a sense with the shoulders and the head. But it just, the way that it moved so quickly. It was really creepy. And then I saw it again a few minutes later. So it was something darting around over there. But hopefully, we won't actually encounter any real shadow people, because those might be aliens too. So they're just in disguise and coming to, like,
That's a theory,
check you out.
extraterrestrials.
That's
yes.
right.
Now what we have here is our spirit box setup, and I just want to go over this real quick. We're going to start off with the spirit box tonight. We'll do some EVP sessions as well, but we're going to start off with this, I think, in the dining room. Now, we use a splitter, okay, and the purpose for this is this wire goes to the headphones, this plugs into the spirit box, and this one plugs into the speaker, okay? The reason we do this is so that when the spirit box plays, everyone that's watching and the other investigators in the room will be able to hear what comes through the speaker, and we'll be able to record it. Linda will be listening to the headphones, and these are those soundproof, what are they called?
Noise canceling.
Noise canceling headphones. So what these will do is block out all the noise so she won't hear any of our questions. With the spirit box just going as loud as it is through the speaker into her ears, which is very annoying at times. But if she gives an answer to one of our questions, we know she's not biased at all, because what really does happen, and a lot of times with the spirit box, is you're hearing this nonsense noise, bits and parts of speech coming through the radio, and you hear a question, and your brain kind of puts together that nonsense noise into an expected response. So if Linda shouts out a direct response to our question, we know she's not biased at all. We know she actually heard it come through the spirit box, and it's not just us putting some nonsense noise together. Okay, so we're going to take this, and we'll take the REM pod,
Okay.
and we'll head up to the dining room. Before we go, let me just test this, make sure everything's working all right with it.
I do want to point out that I've had a few comments so far saying something has flown across the camera. There are quite a few bugs down here, especially we have the door open while we're getting everything set up still. So if you do see something fly across the camera, it probably is a bug or a dust, as there still are some fans going. When we start the full investigation, which you'll see on case files, we will go ahead and cut off all the fans so it's not kicking up any dust or any other particles. And we'll also have the doors closed to eliminate the bugs.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And another thing I noticed, we were doing a brief Facebook live feed earlier in the basement. And when I panned the camera by, there was a certain light glare that it put like a little blue dot that came floating across, and someone thought something floated in front of you. And if they saw the same thing I was looking at through the camera, it was indeed that light glare. So things like that can throw you off. It's important to go back and review though. It's important to go back and confirm that that's actually what it was. Linda, I'm going to pass to you the spirit box here.
Okay. I was just checking out the surveillance system. There is a lot of things floating around in the dining room area. I know we mentioned going up there. It's just kind of a lot of dust and particles, I believe, at this time.
Nothing setting off the motion light though,
No,
right?
not so far. But the motion light, when it does get set off, it's going to be right in this area over here where you see it.
Right. So when we go in there, what I would suggest is that we get in a position, get the spirit box going, and we stand perfectly still. We'll have the REM pod that we'll put in place, but we'll also have that motion light.
Right.
So two means, if something can pass in front of that motion light, or if something can, and the REM pod, for those of you who haven't joined us before, I'm just going to go over to this, what this is. Okay, this is basically a proximity detector too, for lack of better words. When you have the antenna extended here, if something comes near this antenna, the closer it gets, the green light's going to come on, and as it gets closer, all the lights are going to come on until it gets to that blinking red light. You can also hear the pitch change. So there's two different things that we're going to see and hear. We're going to see the light coming on, and we're going to hear that pitch if something comes near this. We set this down, and it's another means that something could potentially communicate with us.
Now, we're also going to hear a more high-pitched tone come out of that thing when we go upstairs, because it does have a temperature detector at the same time. It is cooler downstairs than it is upstairs, so we can expect that thing to start kind of a constant tone that beep we'll hear will come on. That's going to be normal. That's what's to be expected when we first get upstairs.
Right at the beginning, yes. We've noticed that when there's a change in the humidity, at least a 10% change in the humidity, it triggers this. So if we take it from here and there's a 10% difference upstairs, at the beginning it'll light up. But after that initial 1 or 2 lights, it shouldn't do it again unless something comes near it. The other thing that we found that triggers this is two-way radios. If you key a radio and you're in the proximity of this, it will also set it off. So our radios are off. We're going to leave them down here.
Yeah.
We don't need them. We're all up there. Grab the REM pod, we'll grab the spirit box, and we'll go ahead and go upstairs.
Real quick, the chat is blowing up. It's going crazy. We've had a lot of people asking, where is the VAPI merch? Everyone is asking. We want to buy merch.
Merch. Oh.
Yeah.
It's been several people.
Yeah, we're working on the t-shirts. We've got a guy that we are considering going to for the t-shirts because a lot of people have been asking for our VAPI logo t-shirts. That's in the works. We do have things such as decals and stuff that we can provide. One of which was our decal, if you want to mention that.
Yeah, and the stand up for your state decal.
Right.
You know, we were saying, hey, be proud of your state, say what's good about it. And there's decals that Linda's made that are in the shape of every state. And it's got red, white, and blue. It just says stand up for your state.
Yeah.
Pretty cool thing. But also, a friend of ours hand makes these COVID masks. And they say VAPI on the front. They're purple on the back. VAPI purple. Mm-hmm. Same color as our shirts, kind of.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in these, she sells these as well. So you can contact us, send us an email, contact us through the website, whatever's best for you. Send us a message on Facebook, and we'll give you her email so you can go ahead and get some. All right, let's get this REM pod and let's head upstairs.
All right. I will grab the REM pod. Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Let's take the tri-field meter, just in case.
That's probably a good idea. All right. Do we have a digital voice recorder? Where would that be located at?
That is in the front pouch of the triangular shaped bag.
Okay.
Right up in there.
We like to digitally record all of the spirit box sessions, even when we're not doing an EVP session. If I have a chance to go back over the spirit box session later on and kind of review it and make sure we didn't miss anything, that's always a good thing.
Oh yes, Chris asked, what about using the SLS cam? We don't have one of those in our toolbox, unfortunately. They're a bit pricey and we're kind of on a tight budget. In other words, we don't have any money, but it would be neat to experiment with. We have experimented with the Kinect's camera before, and the problem with the Kinect's camera was it kind of gave us some, what we believed anyway, were false readings. So we kind of stopped implementing it, but it's definitely worth some experimentation. I know the SLS camera is significantly different, but it would be neat to see what it maps out and compare it to some of the other things that we get.
Watch your step over the wires. Let's trigger that just to give us a moment to sit down here.
SLS app in the App Store. I'll have to look that up.
Let's see.
Where do you want to sit?
I'm thinking that for the REM pod, because we do have the motion activated light, what if at the same time that light goes off, this goes off? That's because something got close to it. So
Right.
let's go ahead and set this about right here. This is where, that's the range that that light will cut on.
All right. And I think if we all actually set up over in this corner, there's no chance of us setting off the REM pod or the motion light.
That's right.
So I'll let you all kind of move around here and I'll kind of move in front of the fireplace there.
Okay. Let's see if we can.
Okay, so once again, the REM pod is going off, but as I mentioned, there's a humidity change. Okay, so that will go off at first. We're gonna give it a second to get acclimated. Someone said, what do you think about the Necrophonic app? Will, is that one that you were trying to do earlier and drop a pin and go get burgers or something like that?
Yeah, no, not the Necrophonic app. The one that I was planning on using at some point was the Randonautic app.
Yeah.
That's the one where it'll pinpoint a little location on Earth that you're able to go to. Usually people find some really weird and strange things. So we might use that on one of our next expeditions, probably.
Yeah, that would be a good thing.
Yeah, the Randonautic apps. There, someone just clarified. Yeah, we want to try that.
We will.
I don't think it has to do with, we're not going to use it.
Now that thing really should be acclimated by now.
Right.
Well, I don't know. Let's start with just that before we fire up the spirit
Did
box.
you hear that?
Was it like a thump?
Yeah.
Was it my foot?
No, it was like
No, there
in
was
another part of the house.
Yeah, there was definitely like a. It sounded like someone like took a step like upstairs or something.
Yeah, because I could feel it in the floor. When
Yeah.
the thump came through, I could feel the vibration in the floor in the room that we're in. So we either had to be right above us or right below us.
I wonder if anyone on the chat heard it.
I don't know. Might have been too quiet.
All right, well, the REM pod is definitely acclimated at this point.
Yes.
Let's start off with just that for a second. We'll have the recorder going.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Jeff,
I'm Linda.
And I will.
and we don't mean to impose by any means. We're just here to find out if there's anybody here aside from the three of us, and why you're here, if there's anything we can do to help you. We have a little device on the table over there with the red light on it. And if you come near that device, it may light up and let us know that you're here. Can you try coming near that for us and let us know that you're here? Can you come near that red light? We've heard there was a little girl that's been seen around here. Is that little girl here with us right now?
I heard a light thump or some sort of movement over by that desk.
Could it have been settling noises since
It could have been.
we were just walking over there? Just so I can show you, you saw this lighting up earlier, it will not hurt you at all, okay? It'll just do this. You can even touch it. And that light that just came on, that's because I walked in front of it. So if you pass in front of that light, that's another means that may let us know that you're here.
I do have a quick question. The street that this house is on, during the Civil War, there were Union soldiers that were coming into Wytheville. And when they did, the town was not protected by hardly any Confederate soldiers by that point. So instead, the townspeople got as many people together. They all had guns, went into the center of town and hid inside of the buildings. When those Union soldiers came down the road, they were ambushed by the townspeople. The townspeople fought off the Union soldiers and massacred them in the streets. And Jeff, do you remember what the attack was called?
I don't. I remember they called the road something like Blood Alley or something like that.
It was like the road of death or the.
Yeah, because it was
Street
right
of
out here
Death.
on Main Street. They were all
Yeah.
killed by the civilians.
Yeah, it was a term coined by one of the Union soldiers. I think he said that it was just, this bloody battle, I guess, that ensued there, this ambush.
So I do want to ask, if you are one of those soldiers that was killed on the streets, please light up the REM pod for us. Touch it, make it turn green.
We have a siren in the distance.
Do you hear humming?
Yeah.
Over top of that siren? A woman humming?
No.
But Will, you heard it?
Yeah. I've been hearing all the thumping and all the like
Yeah.
humming and stuff in the house. Yeah. But see, at this point, everything should be settled.
It should.
Are you somebody that used to live in this house?
We know that Reverend Snow built this house with his blood and sweat, and at the time it was quite an achievement. Is Reverend Snow still here with us? Or perhaps one of his family members? If he is, can you go near that red light and turn it to green? It's me making noise.
Linda, do you want to fire up the spirit box and see if we get any responses on that?
Sure. Do you want me to have the headphones plugged in with it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that way we'll, like we said, the
Yeah,
noise
it's
canceling
awfully
headphones. That way you don't hear the question at all.
Okay. Set that on the edge there, just so I get this on here. Now I just want to take the digital voice recorder and I want to set it a little farther away from the spirit box so that later on when I'm analyzing the audio from the spirit box session, I can actually hear the questions that are being asked. Oh, that's too loud. There we go.
So, Linda, can you hear us?
Hey Linda, there's somebody looking in the door behind you there. All right, there's not really anybody looking in the door behind her. We just wanted to make sure she couldn't hear us. Okay, this device that Linda has, perhaps you can use that to talk to us. Aside from the three of us, how many other...
So many?
Well, that was interesting because she heard so many, and I asked a question relating to how many are in this house.
And as we pointed out, Linda cannot hear anything that we're saying.
Right.
It's a deep mouse voice that kind of keeps coming through.
White floaty thing. I missed it. There is a glare, though, that is coming through, just to make sure it's not that. If you see when I move from that light, there's a glare that comes across Linda, and that's actually a lens flare. Are you a soldier?
30? For Thursday?
Hey, Mikey's son joined us. Hello, thanks for joining us.
Mikey's son, hey, it's Will. I'm glad he's here now. So if you're not a soldier, are you any of the children that lived in this house?
Heard of your
Oh, here. The REM pod just went off. Alright. So the REM pod has two functions. One, if you touch the antenna, it will actually make it turn green. The other function is it'll sense temperature changes. If it does that, it'll light up and it'll give off a little sound. So right now that REM pod just it lit up a little bit, but it didn't make any sound. So usually that could mean a temperature change. There it is. Thank you for touching that device for us. Now that you're here, what I want you to do, if the answer to any of my questions are yes, I want you to touch that antenna and make that light turn from red to green.
You're next. I wonder if that means because like it touched that, now
It's gonna
you're
touch
next.
me next. If the answer to any of my questions are no, do not touch it. So my first question is, if there's anyone in the room with us, make that light turn green. Can you touch that antenna for us? If you are a man, turn that light green. If you are a woman, turn that light green.
Hungry something? Hungry kid? And that was a female voice that said that.
It seems whatever was touching that light has now stopped. Thank you for joining with us again. I want to know if you were ever a soldier. Can you make that light turn green?
We had a comment, a question. What rate is the spirit box set at? Right now it's set at 250 for the sweep rate on forward sweep. FM radio.
If you are not a soldier, make that light turn green. I'll let you touch that light whenever you want, but please answer a few more questions for me. Does anything in this room belong to you? So if something in this room does belong to you, is it anything on this table right here? Is it anything on that table over in the corner? Is it somewhere else in this room?
I think that said Snow.
Snow?
And it might have said Reverend Snow. It wasn't the same voice I'd heard before.
Reverend Snow, if you're here with us, please make your presence known. Let us know that you're here. We don't by any means want to intrude on your home. We're here as guests. And we're here to ask you a few questions. Right now you have the opportunity to be able to talk to us. Reverend Snow, if you're just joining us, this light over here that's red, if you touch that, it will make it turn green. You can also speak, and we can be able to hear you. I also have with me Jeff, and he would like to ask you a few questions as well.
Sad.
Is there a particular room in this house that we can go to hear you better? Is there a particular room where you feel stronger? Is there a certain room in this house where we may go to find more like you? Well, the REM pod went silent. The REM pod did go silent. I want to take a second. The spirit box is an interesting thing. It really is. I keep it at 250 usually because I don't think it's too slow or too fast. And if we get a response that's kind of a longer response and it comes through over the course of several radio stations that are sweeping through, it seems more legit to me than a response that may come through on one single station where it may very well be radio chatter, because radio chatter does come through there as well. Now, as far as the spirit box itself and how it works, it's basically just an AM FM radio. We experiment with it. We do. There are different theories, none, of course, of which have been proven as to how spirits actually communicate through these spirit boxes. But one common theory is that they actually communicate through the frequencies. They're able to manipulate the radio frequencies and talk to us through that, which is why sometimes it seems that there's a possible response that comes through, because you will hear an underlying voice over several stations that's not the radio broadcaster voice. It's not somebody singing, but it's a voice that if this person has a job talking on the radio, they probably shouldn't. You know what I mean? It's not the type of voice that you would hear on the radio.
Right. That's absolutely true. And what I find particularly interesting with that session was that there was one voice from a fairly deep baritone sort of kind of voice man who came through 2 or 3 times when we first started up the spirit box. I never heard him again. He answered 2 or 3 questions, or he said 2 or 3 things, and then that was it. Never heard anything from him again. So if he was actually a DJ, if he was somebody talking on the radio, the chances are he would be continuously talking on the radio, unless of course he was breaking for, some sort of song, in which case we would have heard him come back again.
Now, with this REM pod going off at random like this, it doesn't seem to be particularly into response to our questions. We like to see it. We like to see it when it.
We have to keep in mind too that we supposedly have the spirit of a little girl in the house.
Right.
And little girls are not necessarily going to answer your questions. They're more interested in the pretty lights.
That's right. That's right. And now, after being silent for a while, it's going off quite steadily. If you're activating that device, I'd like to ask you a question. Okay, and if you make that light turn green like you just did, that's going to mean yes. If you leave it alone and let it stay red, that's going to mean no. Now, I'm going to ask this question twice because I just want to make sure that we're not getting a random signal here and that we're actually communicating with you. I don't know. Let's try it. That device that Linda was using.
Let's try it this way. If you're the little girl in the house, we want to play a game with that. Can you go near it to answer our question with a yes? But if the answer to our question is no, stay away. Stay away from the red light, okay? Try asking a question now, let's see.
Do you want Linda to turn that spirit box back on? That thing that she was holding that made all that noise? Do you want that to be turned back on? If you do, come near that and touch it, make it turn green. Okay, thank you. I'm going to ask you another question. And if the answer is yes, you'll do the same thing you just did. If it's no, you'll stay away from it.
You seeing something, Will?
It's just every once in a while in this room right behind me, there, I keep seeing like flashes of lights, but of course there's cars outside.
Right. I don't know, it just seems random.
Yeah, it seems too random to get a response.
What do you guys think in the chat? Do you think that this is random, or do you think that this is something interacting with it?
I'd like to interact with a burger from Sheetz right now.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Some people have said they wanted a live stream of Sheets.
A live obnoxious bite.
I thought I kept hearing somebody's stomach. One of you two.
That's me.
Is it? Yeah.
I haven't eaten in a couple hours.
Yeah.
And when I did, it was sheets.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that it seems random. Do you want to go ahead and move on to another part of the house?
I think we should.
I think we should. Yeah.
Yeah. What we're going to do in the next portion that we go to is we're going to try an EVP session. Now, keep in mind, watching this live, it's not going to be as exciting as it is on TV because it's literally us sitting down with a recorder. We'll have the REM pod there as well because we like to keep that open for lines of communication. But it's us sitting there with the recorder asking questions. And when you see it on TV or even maybe in our videos that are a little more exciting than the live feed EVP session, it's edited. So you see the questions, you'll hear the responses and stuff like that.
Right.
You're going to see us sitting around asking questions. But if you think of a question to ask, we'll be glad to ask that question for you.
Right.
Be like bringing you along on the investigation with us.
Yeah, and we won't make it too long because we still want to send Will down into the basement by himself.
Yes.
With a live feed at the very end of this so people can kind of watch and see if something sneaks up behind him and grabs him.
So stay tuned to see Will in the basement. All right, let's grab that REM pod.
Okay.
And it's still going off.
Yep, there's the REM pod.
I have to agree. I think it is going off at random.
I'm not sure what's setting it off in particular.
If anyone's here, I'm going to go ahead. That's me setting it.
That's you, yeah.
It scared me for a second.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and grab this, turn it off. And I'm going to keep that light on so that way at the base station we can be able to see if the light goes on and off.
All right. How long will this be live? Another hour. We'll be going live for one more hour. And then we'll be going lights out. And the rest of the investigation will be recording by normal means, and we'll post what happens after this on the YouTube channel here as well.
Curious, aside from the basement, because we'll do that last, is there anywhere else from the chat, is there anywhere else that you guys want us to go do an investigation? Do you want us to go in the room upstairs? Do you want us to go in the Revolutionary War
Yeah, the
room?
memorabilia room, or even downstairs where it was built over top of the
eighth grade.
Yeah,
Yes.
so those are the options. The War Memorabilia Room, upstairs with the chip paint,
Yeah,
or downstairs by the base station
right.
in the newer part. Anybody want to vote on it? The attic, downstairs. Okay, we're touring here. We need a tiebreaker. Next one that chimes in. Upstairs, do it. Basement, down. All right, let's go upstairs.
Upstairs? Okay.
And then perhaps we'll have time to check out that downstairs before I'm going the wrong way.
I don't know where we're going.
Is the upstairs that way, Will?
Honestly,
Yeah,
this
it's
place
this way.
is, he mentioned it earlier, it's like a maze.
Yeah, it's like an octagon.
It is. Well, no, it's more than an octagon. An octagon is just, kind of
Ooh, someone said near the kitchen. That is an eerie area. What's up?
That is an
I want you
area.
to see how dark it is up there.
Oh, well,
I
no.
want them to be able
Okay,
to see.
so we'll see without the light here. And it's just, that's upstairs.
It's pretty dark up there.
It's creepy. Oh, we'll definitely see the basement, but Will wants to do that one on his own. So we'll have him be going down there in a little bit.
Yeah, see,
Just
Will is
before we wrap up the feed here.
Yeah, Will is like our lab rat, and a courageous lab rat at that. He goes on into all of the creepy places, all of the undesirable places by himself.
Yeah, like showers and
Yeah. People's
Beds.
It's quite entertaining for us, and entertaining for the viewers as well.
yes, there is. This room is dark if I turn out the light, but the only thing is, I'll tell you what I'll do for you guys, just to kind of give you the ambiance a little bit. For the first, let's say, couple minutes of the feed here, of the EVP session, I'll turn it completely lights out. Now, we don't have night vision on this camera,
Right.
so it's going to be dark, but you'll hear it, and we'll keep it on the REM pod here. And we'll do that for a couple minutes just to see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll come back on with the light. Later on, we're going to be using night vision and coming through in complete pitch black
Yes.
and recording that as well. Yeah, some ambience.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Lights out. And that's my stomach. That's nothing evil. I was promised sheets, and my stomach wants it. All right, I'm Jeff.
I'm Linda.
And I will.
And we don't mean to impose by any means. We're just here to talk to anybody else that may be here with us and maybe learn a little bit about you. If there's anybody else here, we have that red light on the floor. At any point, if you decide you want to come near that, it'll turn green. And that'll let us know that we can use that to communicate with you. Otherwise, we have a recorder going, which will capture your voice, and we'll be able to listen to it and hear what you have to say. Could you please tell us your name? Car going by.
Could you try making a noise in the room? Just done. Can you tell us what your favorite doll is in the house? Which doll do you like the most?
Shit, we need to get Jeff some sheets.
I know.
Yeah, something growling over here.
There's a ball on the ground next to that red light. Could you push that ball for us and make it move? It already did. Let's see. Yeah, it's in here. Look.
I mean, is it, how did you set it?
It's over here.
Let's see if it rolls over that way.
Yeah, I think we got a little slant in the floor there.
Yeah. So that moves on its own. How about if I put it right here?
That would explain why all the balls are over on that side of the floor there.
Right, it all slants this
Slants
way.
that way.
Well, now if they move the ball, they'll also be interacting with the REM pod.
That's true.
Do you know, why is there a mirror in the corner?
Probably just for the sake of entertainment. Like they put things up here that they think might entertain the little girl.
Oh, okay.
I think it sets a portal for the room.
They really wanted it to be a portal. They could hang it on the one of the exterior walls.
Like that one behind you?
Oh, yeah, there you go. If you're a little girl that came here in the 1950s, can you try telling us your name? Is it Murphy? If it is, can you make that red light turn green? Not much response up here. Not with the REM pod, at least.
Now, granted, someone could have already spoken to the voice recorder, and we won't know.
Right.
What's your favorite toy that's in this room? Car. If you have a favorite toy that's in here, can you move it for us? What about this balloon? Car.
We're not really getting too much up here.
Someone said I heard tapping.
It might have been me fanning myself because it's like,
It's hot.
Yeah, it's
hot.
really, really hot up here. And I think I might have hit my earring with my fingernail. But I'm the one that listens to the audio, so I would know that when I listen to it later on. That's why I didn't tag it.
Gotta keep those skeptics in check.
Yeah. I'm just like pouring sweat.
Yeah, it is hot up here.
It is really hot. And there's no air movement at all. That's
Yeah,
the
if I was
worst.
a ghost child, I wouldn't come up here, right?
I wouldn't either.
It's
Be
too
hanging
hot.
out, yeah, downstairs.
Yeah, we can move downstairs.
We can.
Do the part of the house that was built in the 1990s.
You mean the cool part?
The cool
I'm
part.
all for that.
Yeah.
The part that has
We'll even get some drink.
Yeah, exactly. We got a cool floor.
We got a lot of people that want to see that basement. Well,
Yeah, they certainly do. Okay.
someone said, I'm sorry we sent you up there. No, not at all.
No, that's fine. We have to investigate here.
And we'll end up coming back here again, but that'll be for the case files. So we'll do a few more things up here, but we just want to keep you guys entertained. We don't want to be standing in a room while nothing's happening for you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have all night. We have until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't mind standing in a room while nothing happens.
exactly. Of course, part of that's going to be taken up by us, eating, and another part maybe by a little nap, because we do have to drive home tomorrow morning.
So in this part of the house, this is what was added on in the 1990s. You can look up in this window right here. See how there's a cute little muffin that's up in the window? There's also another muffin that's in the window downstairs as well that kind of advertised that bakery and that restaurant that was here during that time.
Yeah, we probably should just for the
All
sake
right.
of bugs.
Yeah. And people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Almost can't come over here.
Okay. Deer Park, by the way, one of my favorite waters.
Not sponsored by.
No, but you know what, there's a lot to be said about I guess, the durability of the bottle, and this is a particularly durable bottle. I hate those ones that you get from Walmart. They're like the cheap brand, and they just, when you pick it up and take the top off, it like just crinkles in your hand and the water goes all over you. That's really irritating.
Oh yeah, I hate those.
Yeah.
So I gotta point out, our host was gracious enough to leave us a whole cooler of drinks tonight, which is amazing. But I found a gem in there, 7-Up.
Oh yeah,
That's
classic.
different.
I don't know if it's Virginia or what, but you don't see 7-Up anywhere really.
No, not
And
anymore.
I don't think I've ever had a 7-Up.
They're good. Kind of like a Sprite.
I'll try it.
So I just set the REM pod out here, seeing if maybe we could get something to interact with it. I'm wondering if maybe we ought to set it on the floor, you know, out where we're not going to be right up against it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, that would be a good idea. No possible chance of anything touching it.
right.
That's of a natural cause. Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the digital voice recorder one more time.
All right. Do you want to start up a spirit box?
Session.
No?
Maybe.
EVP session?
Yeah, I noticed a lot of people aren't having too much fun listening to the Spirit Box live anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone is cut out, and I understand.
That can be annoying. Yep.
It can be. So just for the live purposes, we won't do the Spirit Box session again.
Yeah, we can leave that off. All right. What about the fan up there? Do we want to turn the fan off?
No. I know the difference between a fan and a,
Yeah.
and a voice. I do.
All right.
I'm good with it.
Linda knows the difference between a fan and talking. We'll see what happens here.
Sometimes they say white noise actually helps.
Right.
And I don't have any problem with generating a little bit of white noise. It's not that particularly loud of a fan, so I'm good with it.
That's
So
right.
we are now in this part of the house. I'm asking all the spirits in this house, in the neighborhood, and surrounding area to please come join us. We want to be able to talk to you. There's a few ways you can be able to talk to us. So in the center of the room, we call this a REM pod. If you come up to it and touch this antenna, it'll turn green. It won't hurt you, I promise. What I would like for you to do is whenever we ask a question and the answer is yes, I want you to touch that and make it turn green. If not, I just want you to leave it alone if the answer is no. Another way to communicate with us, right over here, we call this a voice recorder. You can come up to it and speak into it, and we'll be able to hear you later. And then, of course, if you are in here and you're able to, you're more than welcome to move some objects or make some noise. So please, let us know that you're here. Did you used to run this bakery? Or the restaurant that was here? Did you used to own this home? Were you a soldier that fought in the Civil War? Did you march through Wytheville?
It's the water. That's the water running again.
Right.
I'm also going to put this down where we can see it, the tri-field meter. Just in case.
Probably a good idea.
And I don't know if I mentioned this, but my name is Will.
I'm Jeff. And this is Linda over here.
Sorry, I'm reading comments, or at least trying to.
And the way it is, we know that there's others here with us. We know that several people have seen perhaps you or someone you know, some of your friends.
Thanks, Zuka.
Have heard you. And we're wondering if you'd be willing to let us know that you're here. We're good at talking, so we can have a conversation. We can tell you about us. You can tell us about you. Maybe one thing we never really did is address our intentions. And basically what we do is we come to places like the Octagon Mansion here and other places where people have seen and heard things they could not explain. And whether you know it or not, you may be someone that the man that owns this place can't explain. He may have seen you, some other people in here may have seen you, and they don't know who you are. They don't know why you're here. And we're here trying to get those answers.
Dutch roots? I do have Dutch roots, actually. My people are from upstate New York, at least a section of them, and in an area I believe called
Thank
Dutch
you.
Kills.
That was
pretty substantial.
pretty substantial, yes.
But thank you for all of the comments, and I really appreciate it.
Let me start off by asking you one question before we go any further with that. To turn that light green, if that was easy for you, can you do it again?
I think it was in a section called Dutch Kills. At one time, my ancestors called the Skillmans, owned a section of Staten Island, bought it from the Indians. They, I guess, bred with the Dutch that were in that area.
If it was difficult for you to light that up, thank you. So I understand from your response that it's difficult for you to light that up. Even given those circumstances, if you're still willing to use that to communicate with us, can you light it up again?
No, I don't believe I have any Indian. No Native American, nothing of that nature. I'm actually about 85% Irish.
If you'd like us to find another means for you to communicate with us rather than that REM pod, can you light it up again for us? And we won't ask you to do it again.
Nope, no Italian either.
Okay, so going by the possible responses here,
Hey, Kristen. Mm-hmm.
when I asked if it's easy for you to light up that REM pod, it didn't light it up. We gave it plenty of time, didn't light it up. I asked if it's difficult, can you light it up? And it did, expressing that it was difficult to light up that REM pod. So I'm wondering if it does take a lot of energy for some reason to light this up. Could that be why we're not getting a lot of responses through it?
What the hell is that? Oh, that's the coffee pot,
That
isn't
is
it?
a coffee pot.
Oh, ooh,
Yeah.
okay. It's okay if you missed it. We'll try to do it again soon. This is one of the first times that we've actually live streamed. We don't usually do it from residentials, and that's the majority of what we do. But we're going to try to get into some of these places like this again soon. We really, really like the historical value of a lot of these places. Yeah, that tapping is definitely the coffee pot.
It's the coffee pot. I don't know
And
if this thing just came on.
no, it's been on the entire time,
It's
so
been
the
on the whole
coffee's
time.
probably
It's never.
it's probably
never
like
made a
par.
noise once.
I venture to say it's piping hot.
Will is cute. He is not married yet, but
Not
he does
yet.
have a fiance who is also just as cute as he is.
Oh, I dare say cuter.
Hey, I'm glad you can join us. It's really nice that you're able to find our channel. Jake Goodman.
Okay, so
Why is it going off?
I don't know. And it's weird because this is twice in a row. Like, we've gone into locations before where this REM pod did not go off the entire time, right?
Right.
We've gone into locations where in one room the REM pod would go off and not in other rooms. But last night and today, it seems like it's just coming on at random.
Mhm.
You know, it was doing this. We had an investigation last night in Charlotte Courthouse, which you can see on Gas Grub and Ghost coming up this week on Thursday night, but or next week I should say. But the REM pod was doing the same thing.
Mhm.
It's working. Like, we can test it. We can walk up to it and touch it. There's no other reason it should be coming on. You know, it's had plenty of time to get acclimated to the humidity level down here.
No.
And, like we said before, it's not bugs. It's gonna set it off. It's got to be a substantially good-sized bug to
Right.
make that go off. Because we've put it in grass before. We put it in bushes and leaves, and there's been several bugs around it, and that's not made it go off at all.
Jeff is a teddy bear. You're exactly right. He is cute, somebody else said. But yeah, he's got a rough and rugged side.
He's got that Leonidas beard.
I don't want to sound stupid, but is Leonidas a real person or is this a
Yeah.
TV show?
No, it was a
He's
real.
person.
I knew that. The history from the Greek.
Yeah.
Right?
The
Yeah, don't
Spartans.
confuse Spartans with Greeks.
Yeah.
They don't like that.
Yeah, we've had a lot of really good comments. We've had quite a few viewers. Some people had just started coming in. Some people said they were upset because they had missed it.
Well,
There's
as soon
still a
as
little
this
bit
is-
left to go.
As soon as this is done, it'll automatically go right up, and it'll be completely full. You can watch it from the very beginning as soon as we're done.
Yep.
Absolutely. And we'll be here all night. So we're also going to do a video of the investigation after this. One that will be on YouTube in the coming months here. So you'll be able to see what goes on after this as well.
My question is, do you think that Leonidas could have taken an obnoxious bite like you can? I mean, somebody said Leonidas was a badass, but I'm not sure he can stand up to your obnoxious bite.
I obviously, I don't know a whole lot about Leonidas, but in response to that, I can only ask one question. Did Leonidas ever go to Sheets?
Probably not.
There you have it.
He might have done, yeah, he might have done an obnoxious bite.
He took an obnoxious bite out of a hero. like one of those big.
Like a big
It's
like a firehouse.
Some tzatziki sauce.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Tzatziki sauce.
How many people are viewing right now?
159. It was just 166 a minute ago.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
What we're going to do, we set some time in here. We're going to do a quick question and answer session. We're going to the base stations. We have some good lighting.
Yep.
And then
And we can kind of monitor the cameras. We haven't looked at the cameras yet.
absolutely. And then Will is ready to get down in the basement after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Kat from Kansas. I'm glad you could join us.
Let's leave the REM pod going. We'll turn off the recorder because we'll probably get us talking.
Somebody said, leave Will down in the basement. Don't forget.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We definitely will not forget. And we do have about 4 cameras running right now. We're planning on putting a few more of the little action cameras, the full spectrum action cameras in different places as well.
Right. So let's do a 5-minute. What time are we at right there?
86, 27, 8, 9.
Okay, according to my math, we have about 5 minutes for a question and answer session, and then we'll have Will go down in the basement. If anybody has any questions, pop them up there and we'll answer them for you. But also, while you're doing that, if you're new to our channel or new to VAPI, we're Virginia Paranormal Investigations, and we conduct investigations into everything paranormal, not just ghosts, throughout Virginia and the surrounding states.
Ooh, Wings to Go. Somebody said, what about Wings to Go, Jeff? That's like his favorite place ever.
That is, and if there was one anywhere near here that was open in about a half hour,
We'd be there.
yeah.
We would definitely
Absolutely.
be there.
I love wings too. I gotta say I'm a connoisseur of wings, and Wings to Go, it's what I was raised with, and it's my favorite. It really is.
Somebody said, did we modify our own action cameras? That was Anthony Rice. To make them full spectrum?
Yes, we didn't modify them, but we have modified action cameras that are full spectrum. We have 3 of them, and what we're going to be doing is after our live feed, we're going to be setting them throughout the house at places that our camera cords don't reach.
Somebody said, no, Jeff does not work for Sears. He is just kind of obsessed with certain things like Sears and Kmart because they were affiliated. Because of that, he's also kind of obsessed with Craftsman.
How do you
And
know that?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not obsessed by any means, but I do like Sears. I guess maybe the nostalgia of it. And same with Kmart. There's stores I remember from when I was a kid, and always a good time going there any time of year. Got my Halloween costumes from Kmart. Did my Christmas shopping there. And,
Yeah.
Up until like last year when they closed.
Yeah.
I gotta say, the basement camera, I keep seeing, like what we saw before while we were setting the camera up.
Oh, yeah.
There's still movement that keeps happening, especially near the door. This top part, you can occasionally see something black come through here, and it's not a bug or anything like that. It's only in this small little section. And then over here, I keep seeing something black moving this way occasionally.
Do you think there's any possibility that with the outside door, if we left it open, if anything would, like passing cars or anything like that might cast some kind of silhouettes in there?
I don't think so. Only because when you walk in, you hit a wall, and then you have to make a left, and there's nothing reflective that I think that would cast all the way down that hallway down there in the
I see what you're
basement.
saying.
That would be pretty substantial.
Somebody said, good question, Kat. Kat, can you repeat your question? There's a lot of them popping up here, and it's unfortunately, kind of a short screen. I don't know about a woman's spirit here. There could be.
Maybe, but yeah, we haven't gotten anything. Does anyone know if Mr. Snow was married?
Yeah, he had a
Or if he
wife.
was allowed to?
Yeah, I believe.
Yep, he had a wife and kids.
So his wife could very well be here. Reverend Snow, he, as the gentleman who owns the place told us, back then when they built the place, they put their sweat and blood into this place. It was his forever house. They weren't just going to move in a couple years. He was building this house to live here for his life, and he loved this house. And even there are cases where somebody doesn't necessarily die in a house, but they have such an attachment to it, be it their childhood home, fond memories, or even if there's very tragic things that have happened in that house. Sometimes it's believed that their spirit can be drawn back to that location, even if they didn't die there.
Kat had asked if any of us have ever had an attachment from an investigation.
An attachment.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Jeff, have you?
I have not.
I have not, but I think Linda has.
I don't know if you'd consider it an attachment. It didn't have a chance to get too attached.
Yeah. Let me bring this around for you.
So,
Story time.
There was one investigation that we did. It was a residential investigation. We've come to dub it the murder house investigation. Not because anybody was murdered right there, but across the cul-de-sac, across the street, there was a house that had a horrific murder back in like the 1990s. I think it was early 1990s. And the people that lived in the house and called us out there were experiencing some really strange things, including what appeared to be the spirit of one of the young men who had carried out the murder, who was not dead, mind you. He was in a prison somewhere in Virginia. So they were seeing what was called a living ghost. Now they believed that because of the bloodshed and everything, that there might have been a demon associated with the place. They had had a priest come out to bless the home. He was evidently quite scared to be in the house. And when he went down into this kind of half basement that they have, he got to the bottom of the steps and stopped, and he wouldn't actually walk out into the basement. He just kind of stood there at the bottom of the steps and flung the holy water like as fast as he possibly could and rushed back up the stairs. So, of course, this didn't do any good. It didn't clean out the demonic spirit. It didn't clean out anything. And so these people called us kind of as a last resort, and they were stuck in their lease. But when we left that investigation, Jeff went up to Delaware, and I was left alone in the house by myself. And that evening, there was just sort of this strange feeling in the house, and it sort of felt like you weren't alone, like somebody was staring at you everywhere you went, no matter what you did. I got in the shower that night, and I kept pulling back the curtain and looking at the doorway because it felt like somebody was standing in that doorway staring at me. Now we've always had a spirit in the house, but we call her the ghost lady because she's just always been there and she's never been a problem. This is completely different than that. So, of course, being who I am, I got pissed off. I grabbed the holy water. I start going around saying the house cleansing prayers that we've come up with, the scriptures, throwing the holy water around, basically telling it it's going to get the hell out of my house. It's not going to stay. That evening when I laid down to bed, I turned on my audio Bible and let it play nice and loud in the bedroom. And the next morning, everything was fine. Went to work, came home. When I came home, again, everything was fine. And I haven't felt that feeling again in the home. And I think it probably decided that I was not a good enough prey and just went back to the household where it had come from to mess with them.
What do you guys think about 2 more questions, and then we'll go ahead and we'll head down in the basement.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good to
Yeah.
me.
What else you got?
Let's see. We're waiting on the next 2 questions from the viewers. Let's go ahead and look at the live cameras that we have going on. Down in the bottom left is, of course, the dining room that we were just in. And then up top is the basement that we were about to go visit. And then over to the top right is right outside of the door that we were at. And then at the bottom right is right up the stairs from where we are. That is in the Revolutionary War section of the museum. Eve asks, are you going to do more cold case investigations?
We would love to. Those are my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I love Paranormal Shakedown.
Paranormal Shakedown.
You
Yes.
couldn't think of the name of it.
I do like the Paranormal Shakedown videos. It is interesting to get out there and look up these cases where, to me, it's another means to try to find answers. And we haven't had a whole lot of success. We have had some people contact us after one of the videos that we did and said, hey, some of the responses you got, I know a little bit about that case, and some of them were dead on. I don't want to say much about that case because they pretty much told us, hey, you don't want to stay away from this one. So I'm not going to go into detail about that. But if we could possibly help somebody get closure through a means that no one has tried, I don't believe it hurts. And this is where we go out to places where there have been, someone's been murdered and the murder is unsolved.
Or even
And
disappearances. We'll go
disappearances
do
as
missing
well.
persons cases
Yeah.
as well.
And we try to see if we can get any responses. And one of the theories we have is that not just the person who was murdered there, not just their spirit is lingering, but a lot of places like Yorktown, there's battlefields all around, there's spirits of soldiers and Native Americans all around. If any of these spirits were there when this murder took place, perhaps they were witness.
Right.
Maybe these witnesses are willing to talk and give some information.
Yeah.
That the police weren't really looking at that as a source, you know? So it's interesting. I'd love to do more of that.
The last question is, and this came from Steve. He asked, is there an investigation that truly scared you? Like you left and it was like, man, that was a scary experience.
Nope. I am far more scared by the environment sometimes that we're in these investigations. Not the house or not the spirits in the house, but there was one we did in the numbered streets of Richmond, Virginia. And when you get down into those numbered streets, it's scary. Like there's no ghost, there's no demon on this earth that's going to scare me more than, you know, the numbered streets of Richmond.
Well, I'll tell you, actually, there was an investigation that I was really glad to leave when it was over. Like,
What was that?
the whole time I was there, I walk into this house, and immediately
That flash
there it
above
is.
Jeff's head is a bug. I've had a few people ask about that. There is
there's
a bug
few
at the
of them
brim.
flying around in here. But immediately I walk into this place and I look up, and right in front of me is this huge cage aquarium with this giant snake in there.
Oh.
And this cage took up like a good portion of the room, and there was this much space between the aquarium and the doorway that we had to walk through to get to the room that was supposedly haunted.
That is a slight exaggeration.
That was a big snake.
That was a slight
That was a
exaggeration.
big aquarium, and it was by the door. I kid you not. I remember it well, and I was glad to get out of that place because I don't mess around with snakes.
Yeah, that was about 5 years ago, 6 years ago now. That was down in Norfolk, a residential.
Right.
Yeah,
But speaking of mess around,
let's get.
send Will down to the basement. Now, Will, what we'll do is we'll rig you up here with the camera. You can take it down there. When you're getting set up, you can flip it around and introduce you, the session. But we'll synchronize our watches, and you just keep going, and I'll come in. I'll say entering close to the end, and we'll get ready to go lights out then.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So what you want to take with you, I think, is the digital voice recorder, of course. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to take this light so the folks at home can see you.
And so that way I don't get too scared, you know.
Right. Plus, you probably need to see where you're going.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And the REM pod.
Definitely.
I think would be pretty cool to have in there.
You could probably put that battery pack in your pocket if you need to.
Yeah.
And we'll hand you whatever else you need to get down there. Give the folks a little thrill here.
All right, I'm going to take one last sip of my 7-Up before I
What do
head
you
down
think?
there.
You like the 7-Up?
And maybe
I like it.
Maybe the last sip.
Ever?
It could be better. I kind of want like a better thing than 7-Up. All right,
Let me
here
see
we
what
go.
time we're at on there so I can synchronize.
We are right at almost there.
99.
99 minutes. Okay,
Okay, so I'll give you 10 minutes.
cool.
10
I'm
minutes from the time we set up down there, if that's
going to go ahead and grab this voice recorder to cut it on. You just hit that, right? Or is there a on-off
No, it's a
switch?
slide switch on the side over here. Pull it down and hold it down for a second.
Okay,
Just kinda
I see what you're
slide
saying right there.
Slide it down for a second.
All right, cool.
Here, let's go ahead and turn it on, as a matter of fact. Just make things a little bit easier for you. And then all you have to do is hit the red button to record.
Sounds great.
Okay. Are you going to be able to carry all this? Or do you need me to go in there to get you set up?
You know what would be great is if you follow me down there and then you close the door behind me.
Oh, nice.
There we go. Oh, and you can cut out the breaker.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
cut out the breaker as you leave.
Near the door.
Let's do it.
So are we? Oh,
Yeah.
are we heading out to this way, or
Why don't you go
back?
out that way?
It's
Do you
probably
go out that
faster
way?
this way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me grab the REM pod then.
All right, guys. So we're gonna head up this door. This leads right outside, and then to our right will be the crawl space into the basement. This door does not have a doorknob, so you got to be careful with it. And we're gonna walk outside.
Yeah, Linda, you may need to let me back in this way, I guess, since there's no doorknob.
All right, here we go. So guys, as we're walking out here, start thinking of some questions that I should be asking. So right outside, this whole section of the house was built in the 1950s. This is part of that kitchen addition. So we're gonna come right through here, open up this door, and then you gotta watch your head. I hit my head earlier. We're gonna head into the basement. Turn left, and there's the door. So right here is the circuit breaker. All Jeff has to do is flip this switch right up here, and the entire old section of the house loses its power. So I'll be down here in complete pitch black.
Behind 2 doors.
Behind 2 doors, actually.
Yeah.
I do want to show this is where the camera is right here. It is looking at this door right here. So they will be able to view me at the base station. So if you come in here, something I want to show you guys while the light is still on. When you come in, you have the whole octagon portion of the house that is visible. You can see all 8 sides from this part of the room. And this is all the original brick from when it was built in 1890. Or excuse me, 1870. Matter of fact, you see these windows that are all boarded up. These windows used to look outside from when the kitchen was down here. And now, if you come to look outside, that is the porch that everything was built on top of. And if anyone is scared of bats, which I might be, I don't know yet. There is a bat that lives in that crawl space up there. So I will find a spot down here in the basement and begin the EVP session.
All right.
So Jeff, you're gonna, let's see.
You want to sit on that brick, and I'll put
Yeah.
the REM pod up here on this shelf?
Sure thing. That way you guys can be able to see me on the camera.
Yep, that way we can see you.
I'll move this over a little bit.
I'm going to activate this REM pod.
Don't joke about that, Jake.
I'm sure it's just getting acclimated right now.
Yep.
It's taking a long time to get acclimated.
Do you also have a walkie-talkie with you?
No.
That's fine. So if Jeff and Linda see anything on the base station, I will be unaware. There could be someone right behind me, and I
That's
won't
true.
know.
What we'll do is we'll log on to YouTube upstairs and we'll chat with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be like, hey, Will, check this.
Yeah, that way you guys can be like, look behind you.
Yeah.
Cut on the light.
That sounds like a good idea.
Sounds great.
Because with the radios, I mean, it would be good, but once again, we got the REM pod there, which is screw it up if we have the radios going. But, you know, worst comes to worst, I'll come running down here.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll give you the light.
All right.
Okay, so you can kind of let people
Appreciate
see
it.
what's going on around here.
Let me figure out where the switch is so that way I can easily cut it on and off. All right. So I do it like that, and then I can
Yeah.
see. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'll have that prepared in case I hear anything, see anything. I'll cut it on right away. Okay.
We're starting the recorder,
All right. The
I'm gonna
quarter
go cut
is
the
right
breaker.
behind me.
and
Cool.
I will see you in 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Oh my gosh, that's longer than I
10
thought.
minutes. And after that, we'll be ready to go lights out.
Okay.
All right.
So I will begin the EVP session once the lights go out and I hear Jeff closing the door behind him. All right, guys. So get your questions ready and we will go ahead and do this EVP session together. That is really dark. Jeff just said he didn't bring a light with him, so he's walking outside with nothing. Thanks, guys. I know that I'm alone, but I have 156 other people with me. It'd be great if there was more people, but that's okay. All 156 of you, we're going to get through this. I'm going to go ahead and kill my light. Here we go. All right. So my name is Will, and I'm here to talk with you. Whoever you are, you could be the Pastor Snow. You could be the little girl that lives here. You can be any of the kids. Any of the soldiers that died on the streets outside of this house. Or if you ever lived in this house. I want you to come here so we can talk. Now, there's a few ways that you can communicate with me. One, there's a red light on that table over there. If you touch that light, it'll turn green and it'll let me know that you're here. So if you touch that light, touch it only if the answer to the question is yes. And if the answer is no, leave it alone. So, my first question is there anyone here with me? If there's anyone here, tap on something, knock on something, make some kind of noise. Are you stuck here? If you're here, can you make a noise like this? I want you to tap 2 times for me. That is a car passing outside. Okay. If there is anyone here, and it's really hard to make that light turn from red to green, I want you to come over and touch me. I want to know that you're here. It's okay. So for all you guys watching at home, it does feel like there is someone in the room with me. It feels like there's someone over here. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the light real quick, so that way you can see. To me, it feels like there's someone over here on this side. It feels like I'm being watched. And then every time I turn around, now it feels like it's moved and it's back over here on this side. So it's like whatever is here is trying to hide behind me, or they don't want to be seen. Which that's okay. But I want you to know that this is your opportunity to be heard. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Am I speaking to the spirit of a soldier? There's a wooden door right in front of me. If you're able to, can you knock on it or move it? That presence that I said I was feeling earlier, it seems like it's not here anymore. It actually feels kind of quiet and peaceful. I know that's strange, you know, being in a basement and all, but it didn't really feel like that. The white thing in the other room? Um, let's go see. Some kind of building material. Yeah, you have this whole other room over here, but it's yeah, it's kind of a mess, and it's full of stuff that if I step on it, I might get hurt. So I'll stay over here. So here's this door. I want you to go ahead and knock on it, just like this. You ready? I'm gonna go sit down, and I want you to do that. I want you to make that noise. Yeah, that REM pod's not going off at all. If it shuts that door, I have no idea what I'm going to do. Something I would like to know. Do you travel outside the house? Are you trapped here? That time before that was me burping, but I've only done it like maybe once or twice. I don't know what the other sound was. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut this light back off again. Jeff is joining us. Yes, it probably was a 7-Up.
I'll tell you what, I was watching YouTube while you were up there, and there was this feed of some guy sitting in a basement.
What?
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was some good stuff.
But I think he was burping.
Oh, yeah?
7-Up, maybe?
It's probably the 7-Up.
But what I did is I brought this motion light. It's another one that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking it'll be cool to leave this here in front of the camera
Definitely.
so that we can see if anything does move by, because it seems like some people were seeing some movement down here. And
Yeah.
did you see something as well, or what was it?
Well, it felt like at first, like someone was over here in this part of the room watching me from behind.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I turned the camera to come look over here, I then felt it back over here on the left side.
Hmm.
So it was as if whatever it was moving out of my vision, like it didn't want to be seen.
All right, so I'm gonna put that on there. We'll leave that on. But I think what we're going to do is we've come about to the end of the live portion of our feed. So I want to thank everybody. We really appreciate all your support. We really appreciate everybody that comments and likes our videos and tunes into our investigations. And we have a lot more stuff to come. Gas Grub and Ghost coming up this week. That Gas Grub and Ghost video will be an overview of this whole trip. We went camping last night.
Yeah.
Campfire Tales from Beyond the Grave. A bunch of cool stuff. You know
Residential
what I mean?
investigation last night.
Right. And that'll all be in there. But we're about to go lights out. What does that mean? It means it's dark. And we're going to use the infrared camera. We're going to videotape the rest of our investigation and compile that into a separate video. That'll be on our YouTube channel down the road a little ways. Before we go, would anybody like to ask any questions? We're glad to answer them. We'll take maybe 3 or 4 questions before we go, if there are that many up there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll set that up there.
Yeah. There we go.
By far not the creepiest basement I've been in, I have to say.
No, like I was saying, it got to a point to where it felt comfortable even sitting here by myself. I know I had 155 other people here with me, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah, it felt fine. So I'm just waiting for some questions to kind of catch up. Yeah, we have about 3 more minutes left on the live stream.
Okay. All right. And looks like while we're waiting for those, just stop me if any of them pop up.
And we just got all of them.
All
All right, here we go.
Down here in the basement.
Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I know some of you are heading out now, but we'll go ahead and take a couple questions. So the first one is, how often are you out investigating?
We typically schedule our investigations for every other weekend. So every other weekend we have anywhere from usually 2 to 4 residential investigations is what they primarily are. Every once in a while we'll do a big location, a commercial location, what we call it, like this one. And as far as commercial locations go, this is our first one we've done in 2 years because we prioritize the residential investigations, and a lot of people out there genuinely need help. People ask if we charge anything for the investigations. We don't. We go out there because we're, of course, interested in the paranormal, interested in finding out what we can find or a rational explanation for what's going on, and mainly at the end, helping these people at the same time.
I saw Willem ask the question before while we were on the couch, but are you going back to Old House Woods? So we did. It was actually not on the Virginia Paranormal Investigations channel. It was actually on my channel. Yeah. It's called Nightmare Paranormal. You can go to it where I do everything about ghosts. There's also the other YouTube channel that I'm starting to kind of keep a little separate, but it's called Nightmare Narrative. That's where I do scary stories and a few other things that are scary. So we did. Go check that out. It's called Old House Woods, and just look for Nightmare Narrative or Nightmare Paranormal.
That was a good
We had a lot of fun.
Yep. Slowed down a little bit during the quarantine, so we went out to Old House Woods.
Yep. So we'll definitely do it again. And then also they asked about Crawford Road. We've talked about this. Crawford Road is starting to get built up a little bit. It's not as desolate as it used to be, and we know that eventually more and more houses are going to be built out there. So we want to go ahead and make a really awesome investigation for you guys out there. It'll probably be very produced. Like it won't be right after. It'll be something that we'll really work on to make sure we get some interviews, we get some good footage for you guys, and we'll really take our time with it, because it could be one of the last times that we're able to do Crawford Road again.
It could be.
Absolutely. That's right.
Anything else from you guys?
Nope.
No, not that I can think of. We want to thank everybody for tuning in.
Thank you.
And we hope you'll watch the Gas Grub and Ghost episode, because there's a Sheets Run coming up. And it's coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah.
And that'll be on Gas Grub and Ghost this week. But until next time, I'm Jeff.
I'm Linda.
And I'm Will.
And remember, there's much more to see in the dark. So let's go lights out.